Okay, by all accounts, we had a really good draft. I mean, everybody's really ranking us high, but I think there's one thing that we're forgetting about this draft class, especially really the last two draft classes under Brad Holmes. We talk about Brad Holmes all the time, Craig, when we're drafting, but we forget the next step,
Yep.
which is something we need to be really excited about, and that is player development. And that's what we've been talking about. So we're going to tell you why it's so important, why it's so exciting when you look at player development and what our coaching staff's going to do. So, Craig, when you look at who we brought in and then you kind of marry that with our coaching staff, what kind of sticks out to you? What are your thoughts when it comes to player development?
When it comes to player development, the first place I go is last year. And it was the first time in a long time that I can remember the Detroit Lions having players that they're picking up off the streets. It feels like, guys like that they call Netflix, Craig Reynolds at running back, and they're coming in and they're playing well. And the coaches are putting them in position to succeed. So when I think about player development, I think about all these guys, and can I just throw out a few names right now from last year? I think of guys like Jerry Jacobs, who played really good at cornerback, was a UDFA. I think of AJ Parker, Craig Reynolds, Godwin Igwebuike. I mean, I'm sure I could go with more, but these are guys that nobody thought that they should have to contribute, but also nobody thought they would do it at a high level.
Yeah.
And all of them had good moments or even more. I mean, Jerry Jacobs became a staple as a number 2 corner, and he played it well for about 10 games before he got hurt. So when I think of player development, I think Brad Holmes has an eye. He knows the talent that he wants, but he also knows a skill set that he's able to develop for Dan Campbell and this coaching staff. So I'll throw it back to you. So I'm talking about these guys from the past. Who are some of these guys that you're saying to yourself now, like, ooh, maybe we could be seeing some? They could be current guys on the roster. Even Josh Reynolds was good player development once he got here. It's just little things, putting him in position to succeed.
Absolutely. And that's what you nailed. The biggest part of this is those undrafted free agents that come in, do a great job. And hey, they had an opportunity because we had so many injuries, COVID. So hopefully this year COVID's not a thing. And then, hopefully we just stay relatively healthy. And it's like, man, because we've shown, what if we can develop kind of our starters and stuff? Like what would that look like? So you look at some of here's our past 2 drafts and
the big dogs.
This is where we're looking towards these guys, Craig. So in 2021, for me, it's Levi and Aleem McNeil. I mean, those are the guys. I got to see that player development. That
you got to see more.
About. This has got to be the year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Healthy Levi, please perform.
Healthy Levi, let's go. And then when I look at this year, tell me your thoughts on this. But I look at Josh Pascal, Kirby Joseph, James Mitchell, Nija, Malcolm Rodriguez, like Aiden Hutchinson, and especially Jamison Williams. I'm not like, oh, hopefully the coaches can really work with him. You know, I'm looking at round 3, 4, and 5 here, where it's like, what if we have something in Malcolm Rodriguez and our coaches can bring that out?
Well, and it's interesting that you put these side by side. I love that you did this, because what it makes me realize is that we went with round 3 down, except for Malcolm Rodriguez. I think we went with guys that are more potential than anything, like high athletic upside, showed that they could do some things. Whereas last year, it felt like we were getting guys that produces. Derek Barnes was a high upside guy, but I look at a guy like Kirby Joseph. That's the one that sticks out to me like a sore thumb. I mean, I'm pretty sure this guy was a wide receiver until a year ago, and Illinois switched him over to safety, and now he's playing like 5 picks in the same time. But they basically just said, stand 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but stand 20 yards back there and make plays. So his read and react is a little slow, like telling, all that kind of stuff. So that's a guy that has an athletic ability that's really, really good. He has a nose for catching the football and getting to it, but what's he going to look like in the run game? How can you develop him to make him that really good safety? Like, those are the kind of guys that I'm looking at. What does the player development look like? And even a guy like James Houston, like, throw a flyer on this guy. He was dominating at a lower level of play. Can he come back to that high level and still produce? Where do you put them? Do you put them at linebacker? Do you put them at edge? Like, these are the kind of things I can't wait to see what they do.
Oh, and what's so cool is we're going to get a front row seat with Hard Knocks, and they,
Yes.
that they pick,
Yes.
they usually pick one or two, right, where they really focus
Yeah.
in on that underdog. So it's like James Mitchell for me had a great, I think it was his sophomore year, would have been his sophomore year, or
Oh yeah,
freshman
he
year.
lit it
Anyway,
up.
yeah, lit it up. Then it's COVID. Then he has a ACL tear. So
Boom.
all we could see was this potential of this guy that can run, jump, catch the ball great.
Yep.
Didn't really develop his blocking yet. Well, there we go. That's where the coaching staff can develop his blocking. And now we've got like a good tight end that went in the 5th round, but if he stays healthy, he's a 2nd rounder. But
I was gonna say he's a 2nd-round talent.
yeah.
And can they bring that back? You look at a guy like Malcolm Rodriguez. We always talk about it. Dude was a safety. And he moves to middle linebacker. And yes, there's the short arms. I get it. Whatever. Pretty sure that coaches have literally said for the Lions, like, we don't care about short arms. We care about violent hands, especially with like Aiden Hutchinson. We don't care about short arms. We care about violent hands. Him and Josh both have violent hands. Will they be able to coach that with Rodriguez? Will they be able to, like they say that he tends to stick on blocks and he can't disengage very well. Will they teach him to have those violent hands to be able to get off blocks and to be able to play well? Because we know he can make some plays.
Absolutely.
Really,
yeah. Oh, he's a perfect example. What if we develop him and just get him in the right spots too, right? Like he plays, but we really only use him on 3rd down, rush, spy, or whatever, where it's like, hey, it's not going to be a 3rd and 3 where he could get caught up in a run and get lost. So I think it's and then real quick, you look at last year.
Yep.
Penei Sewell, right? He's got it. There's obviously he's always going to get better, but man, this guy's like, we don't need to try to work with him. But those 2 defensive linemen, even Iffy, Derek Barnes, and then Jefferson's kind of almost out. But I mean, you look at a couple, so they're really, Craig, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in here that's like, man, if we can develop them, like I think we can, and what this coaching staff is put in place, man, it could be huge.
Yeah, and we look at that, and that draft class, we all feel like last year was a good draft class, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we think it was good, but the reality is Penei Sewell was a dog. He was a beast, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown was fantastic, and Aleem McNeil was good. As a 3rd rounder, he did exactly what he should. But Levi, Iffy, and Derek Barnes are all potential, and it's like, what are they going to give next year? Levi had the bad back. If he got hurt, and it's just like,
what are we doing? Yeah, like this could be good. So, we just wanted to make sure that we touched on that because it's a huge part of our strategy and what the organization, like if we can get this right, if we can get the guy that can identify talent and then he passes it over to great developmental, and it's just like, that's what you need. And you just keep cycling through and identifying undrafted free agents. The whole thing just keeps cycling. And when it's working, it feels like it builds. When it doesn't work, it just collapses on Patricia. And it's like, that's what you don't
love
do.
Making fun of Patricia. I think the other thing on this is that clearly Holmes and Campbell think it's working. That's why they're re-signing everyone. They re-signed so many people, and it's because they felt like these guys are coachable. They improved greatly under year 1 with us, and they're going to improve even more in year 2, or they're going to continue that improvement. I think that's what you're starting to see is them saying, no, we have our guys. We like what we have in our guys. We're going to take our chance with them rather than going out and doing something totally different. That's the important part of player development too, is you need to keep guys around for a little while. I know we want to just move and switch and shake and go and stuff. No, keep them around for a little bit. So you have 2, 3, 4 years under the same coaching staff, full buying into the system, developing the players where they feel comfortable. They barely even have to think. They're just balling. That's what you want to see.
I love it. And that's a great point about, because we're so used, we've had tear down and build back up of our franchise. Yeah. We're just so used to guys coming and going, and it's just like Pat Patricia's bringing in his people, and it's like, no, like it's okay to stick around. We're going to build this. So I love it. I love it. Well, let us know your thoughts on this. Subscribe if you haven't, and we will see all of you on the next one.